Hey there, Silver Recaps here. Watch out. The story begins in a barren desert, where we see a mud-covered child chewing on what appears to be a human finger. Soon after, we're introduced to a man named Sam who happens to stumble upon this area. Sam is a professional photographer who has come here to capture stunning images of the solar eclipse. As the eclipse begins, Sam gets busy taking mesmerizing photographs. Once his work is done, he heads back to his vehicle to leave. But on his way, he notices a child sitting alone and crying. Concerned, Sam approaches the child and asks what's wrong. The child explains that he got separated from his parents. Feeling empathetic, Sam tells the child to come with him to his vehicle so they can search for his parents together. But suddenly, the child stands up and starts walking in the opposite direction, saying his parents are that way. Sam is left puzzled, but knows he can't leave such a young child alone. So, without hesitation, he decides to follow him. After walking for a while, Sam realized it would soon be nightfall. Concerned, he told the child they should head back, but to his surprise, the child started cursing at him and ran off. Sam was left stranded. His vehicle was too far away to turn back. He tried finding his way, but soon realized he was completely lost. To make matters worse, his phone had no signal. As he wandered, Sam heard a woman's voice singing in the distance. Following the sound, he reached a ravine, where he saw a small house. Spotting a ladder nearby, he climbed down to investigate. When he knocked on the door of the house, a woman named Alina opened it. Sam explained his situation, but Alina didn't seem surprised at all. Calmly, she invited him in and offered him food. Sam asked how he could leave this place, but Alina didn't answer. With no other options, Sam decided to rest on a bed she had offered. Later, he noticed Alina undressing and bathing in another room. This made him uneasy, so he closed his eyes and eventually fell asleep. The next morning, Sam left some money for Alina and stepped outside, only to be shocked. The house was surrounded by towering cliffs on all sides. Even more bizarrely, the bottom portion of the ladder he had used the previous night was now broken. When Sam asked Alina about the broken ladder, she calmly explained that the locals sometimes take it for their work and would return it soon. Sam then asked if there was any other way out, but Alina replied that there wasn't. This left Sam feeling frustrated, as he realized he'd have to stay another day. To pass the time, Sam took pictures of the beautiful scenery. Later, he attempted to climb the cliffs, but the extreme heat forced him to stop. The next day, Sam searched Alina's house for anything that could help him escape. He found a hammer and decided to use it to climb. As he began scaling the cliff, children unexpectedly threw a dead animal's carcass at him. The sudden hit caused him to fall back to the ground, knocking him unconscious. When Sam regained consciousness, it was nighttime, and he was in unbearable pain. The hammer had landed on his foot during the fall, leaving it injured. He cried out for help, and Alina came to his aid. She removed the hammer and, seeing his condition, brought him inside to treat his wounds. Sam blacked out again, and, over the next 2 days, Alina tended to his injuries until he recovered. Once he felt better, he decided to try escaping again. Standing at the base of the cliffs, he called out for help. He yelled for help toward the top, but no one responded. Frustrated and angry, Sam dragged Alina out of the house and demanded to know what was really going on. Alina didn't answer his questions directly, but calmly said that she could take care of him. Sam, however, yelled at her, saying he wanted to return to his old life. When Alina tried to approach him, Sam shouted, "I'm fine on my own! Stay away from me!" Sometime later, a boy named Corvus and his sister appeared at the top of the cliff. Corvus called out to Sam, who quickly explained that he was trapped and needed help to get out. Corvus assured Sam that he would return with a rope to rescue him. Hearing this, Sam felt relieved and eagerly waited for Corvus to come back. Eventually, Corvus returned and threw a rope down to Sam, instructing him to tie it around himself. Sam did as told, and Corvus, along with the other boys, began pulling him up. But midway through, they suddenly stopped and started mocking him. They began swinging the rope back and forth, trying to torment Sam. One of the boys even urinated on Sam's face. Moments later, Sam slammed into a rock and passed out while still dangling in midair. Suddenly, Alina appeared and scolded the boys in her language. Frightened by her anger, they quickly fled the scene. Later that night, when Sam regained consciousness, he found himself lying on Alina's bed. Sam tried to step outside again, but his weakness caused him to collapse on the ground. Seeing him break down in tears, Alina suggested, "Why don't you just accept this as your fate? Why are you so desperate to leave?" Frustrated, Sam asked her why those boys had treated him so cruelly. Alina calmly explained that they were just troublemakers and not worth paying attention to. Weeks passed, and we see that Sam had finally come to terms with his situation. He had accepted his fate and started living peacefully in the secluded area. Alina took great care of him, and as a result, Sam began to develop a soft spot for her. One day, a boy brought Sam a bag filled with food and other essentials. Surprised, Sam asked where it had come from. Alina, however, dismissed his questions, saying, "Instead of questioning everything, why not just be happy with what you're given?" Hearing this, Sam began to wonder if Alina was also stuck there, just like him. Later that evening, Sam, now under the influence of alcohol, sat in contemplation. Suddenly, Sam heard some noises outside. He grabbed a hammer and stepped out, where he saw Corvus sitting in disguise as a woman. Corvus mocked him again, snatched his hammer, and even licked his face before running away. This infuriated Sam, and he returned to the house yelling at Alina. He shouted, accusing her of letting these boys take control of everyone's lives. Alina responded calmly, telling him to stay quiet and just go to sleep. After this, Alina went to her room, undressed, and started bathing. Seeing this, the drunk Sam couldn't hold back and ended up spending the night with her. A few days later, while working in the garden, Sam heard a boy named Lips calling out to him from above. Lips asked what he was doing. Sam replied that he was farming. Lips became curious and asked how farming worked. Sam explained how different seeds could grow into various crops. Lips showed interest, so Sam offered to teach him in exchange for some help. But Lips seemed scared and quickly ran away. Later, while inside the house, Sam noticed an old photograph of a woman. He asked Alina who it was, and Alina replied that it was the first mother who came to this place. After everyone had gone to sleep, we see all the boys wearing strange clothes and performing a horrifying ritual on top of the cliff. The next morning, when Sam and Alina woke up, they were shocked to find Lepus hanging from ropes above the ravine. He was dead, his back brutally slashed. Alina began screaming, shouting that brothers don't treat each other this way. In her rage, she blamed Sam for her son's death. Before Sam could process what was happening, Alina attacked him with a wooden stick, knocking him unconscious. Months passed, and we see Sam now locked in a cage like an animal. Alina, visibly pregnant, was keeping him alive by giving him food and water. One day, Sam noticed a girl at the top of the cliff. Desperate, he called out for help, begging her to contact the police. The girl began making a call, but before she could complete it, Corvus appeared and brutally killed her. Witnessing this, Sam thrashed around in the cage, screaming in panic and despair. In the evening, a small child approached Sam and gave him a piece of fruit. As soon as Sam ate it, he lost consciousness. When he woke up sometime later, he saw Alina and the other boys performing a ritual a short distance away. That's when Sam realized the horrifying truth. These boys were actually Alina's children, born from different men she had been with over the years. During the ritual, Alina stood with leaves covering her eyes, while the boys danced around the fire. A few days later, as the cold set in, Alina gave Sam a blanket. Desperate, he begged her for freedom, promising that he would stay with her and help raise all her children if she let him out of the cage. But Alina coldly replied that she had never really cared about Sam. All she wanted was to have him make her a mother. Now that her goal had been achieved, Sam was of no use to her. She was simply waiting for her child to be born. The next morning, Alina began experiencing intense labor pain. She opened Sam's cage and begged him for help, saying she had never felt pain like this before. Despite everything that had happened, Sam still cared about his child, so he decided to assist her. However, as he was helping, Sam noticed that some of the boys had placed a ladder nearby, offering him a chance to escape. He realized this might be his last opportunity to get away. Torn between his desire for freedom and his responsibility, Sam hesitated but eventually chose to leave Alina behind and walk toward the ladder. Just then, he heard the sound of a baby crying. He stopped in his tracks, turned around, and picked up his newborn daughter in his arms. In that moment, all of Sam's pain and suffering seemed to vanish. Alina, weak but composed, told Sam to take care of their daughter. She said the child would one day grow up, become a mother herself, and carry on the ritual. Alina thanked Sam and told him their journey together had come to an end. Suddenly, one of the boys came up from behind and slit Sam's throat, killing him instantly. In the end, Alina gathered all of Sam's belongings into a trunk and began feeding her newborn daughter. Meanwhile, Sam's lifeless body lay rotting outside the house, and with that, the story comes to an end.